We had previously tried to do that with an SDR team where they had go on LinkedIn, look for job posts, try to manually go into match one by one. And so the volume wasn't there. And so you were able to help us build a system that's automated, scalable, provides a very personal and hyper-relevant message and match to a lead. We had grown our database to several hundred thousands of contacts in our CRM. A lot of the data was getting stale. As that database grew, we needed a better way to connect with those contacts. The signal-based outbound is taking a company within our ICP, real-time monitoring of job posts that we can actually match to with our talent network. You were able to not only just get the signal for us, but ingest that, work with our engineering team to hit our matching API, think through a lot of the logic. The one that was really interesting, impactful project was the marketing intelligence report. You were able to architect a system and build a system where we're enriching their full marketing org chart, benchmarking it against their industry and stage of company, and then also suggesting a hiring roadmap. So it not only provides some value to the prospect in terms of understanding where they are and how they compare to industry, they tie it back to actual talent that we have in our network. And I want to go to UDeep for work. It's for these projects that are very complex. There's like a lot of discovery that needs to happen that we don't know. You're able to kind of solve both like the strategy part as well as like the technology part of it.
I've been working with Viral and the MarketerHire team for a few quarters now, and honestly, this one's been a fun build. Viral, let's set the scene for people. Can you start by introducing yourself, your role, and what MarketerHire does?
Yeah. Hey. I'm Viral Patel, co-founder of MarketerHire. We're a marketplace that connects companies with vetted expert freelance marketers. So across every specialty within marketing, performance marketing, lifecycle, email, content, you name it, we've got a large network of marketing professionals that we match with companies. We've been around for about 7 years. And on the operations side, I oversee all the technology and systems at the company and lead a lot of our internal growth, engineering, automation, and more recently, a lot of our AI initiatives. So just building systems across the business.
And really, MarketerHire already does, has some serious tech with Marketer Match and the entire marketplace. So what was it that made you go, okay, we need to go deeper on the automation AI side?
Yeah, I think it was, we realized there was just a few areas of opportunities where I think AI and automation just made a lot of sense for us. So we had grown our database to, I think it was like several hundred thousands of contacts in our CRM. And we needed just a better way to understand who was in there. A lot of the data was getting stale. As we had grown, we hadn't really kept up with maintaining the CRM. And then I think it was as that database grew, we needed a better way to outreach and connect with those contacts. And so just given the size of the database and how long it's been just growing without a lot of maintenance, it just made sense to take a AI approach, an automation approach to solving, just how to, understanding who's in the CRM and then how do we outreach to the folks that are in the CRM.
And on the topic of scale, you mentioned you've been here, since good 7 years, Marketer has started. And we're in the era of AI agents and whatnot today. I'm just curious, how have you seen the entire, the marketing scene, overall marketing evolve over the last few years? This pre-COVID, COVID, and now this entire era of Claude Code and whatnot. If you could just give a quick, run through or your best memories on what used to exist then and how do you see it changing, evolving today?
Yeah, it is crazy because you're right. We started right before COVID. And at that time, it was, believe it or not, it was hard to convince companies to hire remote, right? That was not even a very common thing. And so we had an uphill battle to convince people to even hire remote. COVID hit, we saw a huge tailwind there. Immediately, we were in business in a big way because remote became a thing. So we saw that wave, and then we were really early on to some of the early GPT models pre-Chat GPT, and so we'd applied AI to a lot of our internal matching systems. So just helping us understand and take unstructured data on both sides of our marketplace and conversations that we were having with clients around requirements and needs, and then also resume and interview data and processing that from structured to structured. And that was, a big unlock for us. But then, very recently now, things have accelerated a lot more to now look at applying AI, across the entire business from go-to-market to, obviously sales and furthering our automation and usage of AI within matching in particular, and even customer service and customer success. So it's been, it's been really an interesting ride, and the evolution of technology alongside the evolution of our business has been great to see. And now I think what we're doing more now is, not only applying AI to the core business, but now we're going into applying AI into the service delivery of the marketing service delivery as well. And so it's been a very exciting time.
No, that's, I know you're also pretty hands-on, operator when it comes to working with these tools, with AI, and we've exchanged so many notes together as well. I cannot go, my thinking and my memories even don't go back to the times when I was not working with AI today. Even if a note-taking app doesn't join my meeting, I'm like, I'm probably missing out on someone joining the meeting today. So I can imagine from a business perspective, what would have that looked like, and what today looks like for you and your clients. We've touched on a bunch of areas together, Viral. CRM enrichment, talent acquisition, the marketing intelligence report, BD. How's working together been over the past quarters impacted your business?
I think a couple things come to mind, in the context of us working together. I mentioned the CRM, but the big impact there was that we had a massive database there, and there wasn't, you couldn't just do a blanket auto enrichment. We've got a pretty complex system in that because we're a marketplace, we have the client side, the demand side of the business, and then, the freelancer talent side of the business. And so, I think a big impact in us working together is that, just from an enrichment standpoint, we were able to make sense of our database, and then not only just do like surface level enrichment, but you were able to help us in going deeper on understanding, our clients in a way that would help our sales team and our marketing team further segment the business. So it's not just at the industry level, but we worked on things like understanding the marketing org of that company, and so it just gives us another dimension into the contacts within our database, and that unlocks a number of growth initiatives. So that was a big impact. So just going from a very messy database of a lot of contacts to actually some semblance of organization, and then enabling us to implement a number of growth initiatives based on that enrichment work. And then I think like the other big impact that I think of was our work that we did around, I just call it like outbound and business development, right? So we had one project around the job posting signal outreach. So I said, earlier when we were chatting, we had a big database, but then, how do we, the big thing that we want to do with AI and automation, and when we started working together, is how do we, how do we reach out to the contacts in our database in a way that's valuable and deliver something that's of value and tangible? So, the two ideas that we had from a concept that you were able to help us implement and go end to end were like signal-based outreach, and then also the marketing intelligence report. So, just to talk to those a little further, I think you helped us build the entire system for both of those concepts. So the signal-based outbound is taking a company within our ICP, real-time monitoring of job posts for posts that we can actually match to with our talent network. And then, I think the real key that I saw, in working with you is you were able to not only just, get the signal for us, but ingest that and then work with our engineering team to hit our matching API, think through a lot of the logic, within matching, scoring on the skills, company similarity, goal fit, and then, automating the outreach, but also thinking about a number of the fallbacks. It sounds easy in theory, but there's a lot of edge cases that you're able to solve for us in that automation. So that was a really good project where we saw impact in a system that kind of runs itself, that would, in the traditional sense before AI and automation and working with you, that would take a pretty large team to, one, go reach it. And, we had previously tried to do that with an SDR team where they had, they would go on LinkedIn, look for job posts, try to manually go into our UI, match one by one. And so the volume wasn't there. And so you were able to help us build a system that that's automated, scalable, and also just provides a very personal and hyper-relevant message and match to a lead. So that was a good one. And then the other one that comes to mind that I think was a really interesting, impactful project was the marketing intelligence report. So that was the automated lead magnet. So an idea we had for a while that you were able to run with. And that one is something that, when we ran with that and showcased it, the response was that it was a very impressive report and obviously a high value add piece of content that we were able to deliver to leads in our database, not only just cold outbound, but we've used that internally for our lifecycle marketing as well. And so that was one where we're taking essentially like a company URL, and then you're able to architect a system and build a system where we're enriching their full marketing org chart, and then benchmarking it against their industry and stage of company, and then also suggesting a hiring roadmap. So it not only provides some value to the prospect in terms of understanding where they are and how they compare to industry, but also how it can relate to our product, right? With the hiring roadmap, we're able to actually put in some suggested roles there and tie it back to actual talent that we have in our network. And so that was one that, just became a core piece of our outbound, and then also has been a template that we use for other lead magnet.
No, that was my personal favorite. And I think, going from a domain to actually understanding what does it take to scale your company to the next level and getting insights at industry level. That's the kind of intelligence that most companies probably do not get much visibility on. And I think, that was a pretty, not just from an architect standpoint, but also from different APIs we used, and seeing it end to end come from right from the website submission to the report being generated and being sent to the potential clients. That was a pretty fun project for sure.
Yeah, and there was a lot of systems, API. I think you built front end on Lovable, back end on Supabase, multiple APIs, and then connecting the whole system. And then we finally got that back into our CRM as well. Working with you, I think you've helped us be able to take things from concept that are where there's a lot of complexity, and you can kind of I can come to you with this idea, you come back to me with a number of questions, you're able to quickly prototype things, understand where the edge cases are, and essentially run with it. When I want to go to you deep for work, it's for these projects that are very complex. They're just like, hey, this is going to take really some thinking and some strategic thought. Maybe there's a lot of discovery that needs to happen that we don't know, and you're able to really architect the whole solution and then kind of run with it. So you're able to kind of solve both the strategy part as well as the technology part of it.
Thank you for that. I thoroughly enjoyed my Excalibur sessions with you, boarding everything in the flow charts and getting your thoughts on it before we started building. I really cherished my time. And, what do you think? What would you tell them What was it like actually working with me and the team?
Yeah. I think the one thing I'd say, is that Deep, you operate like you're part of our team and not outside of it. And I think that's really, really unique. And I work with tons of consultants and contractors and freelancers. And obviously our entire business is, freelance consultants. And so, honestly, that's like a big thing that I don't see that I see that's unique to you, right? You're able to really feel like you're an integrated part of our team and understand our business, and ask the right questions. And then, I think the other thing that I really like about working with you is that you're very responsive, right? So, and again, this is kind of part of like working like our team. So we are heavy Slack users, and we're always kind of communicating over Slack, and you're always on it, right? And able to jump on a call and, respond in Slack. So I think that's like a big part of it, where others, it feels a little more disconnected in how we work. And so I think that's like a big thing that I always appreciated about working with you. And then, I think the other thing I'd say is that I think you have this unique ability to understand, and I think this comes from your background and being a founder and running your own businesses, and not just being on the consulting side of it, as well as that you've got that founder mindset and mentality. And so that, you're able to help provide a lot of strategic thinking around what we should build, why we're building it, and, really the architecture of it, making sure we're not over engineering anything. And so I think you're essentially able to like kind of run with a concept. And I think that's also unique in that I don't need to handhold a lot of what needs to happen, in it. You can take the idea and run with it. And when I say run with it, it's like, you're able to get into our systems, figure out the right APIs, figure out the right data enrichment. I love some of the analysis that you do before we even start building around like, which data sets are the data providers that, are going to be the best one, and thinking through things that I wasn't even thinking about, right? Like you were come back and think through some of like the cost analysis that you've done, and the quality of the data that we would get from different data providers. So I think it's again, you're able to provide strategic value, really get into the weeds, really define and understand, because you understand the problem, really define the right system and workflows to build.
Thank you so much, Will. It's been a pleasure working with you and the team, and I am looking forward to what's next for MarketerHire. I know some forward-looking plans that you're working on, and wishing you all the best. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Looking forward to collaborate in the future.
Yeah, likewise, Deep.
Thanks.